Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. The cool morning wind swept through the bustling streets of New York City, and 24-year-old Emma walked briskly to work, a look of fatigue on her face. Ever since her parents died in an accident when she was a child, her life had been a succession of odd jobs and sacrifices. But Emma had never lost her kindness or her willingness to help others. Suddenly, a scream pierced the din of the city. An old woman, lost in the middle of the traffic, looked like she was about to be hit by a taxi honking frantically. Without thinking, Emma rushed forward, grabbing the woman's arm, and pulling her out of harm's way. Her heart pounding, she felt a strange familiarity in the old woman's eyes. "Thank you, my dear," the woman murmured, her voice shaky but soft. Emma gave an embarrassed smile. "It's nothing, ma'am. I'm just glad you're okay." The old lady, Clarice Montgomery, insisted on taking Emma into her residence. "I want to thank you, you saved my life." "You deserve more than just a thank you." In the sumptuous home, decorated with antique paintings and luxurious furniture, Emma felt a strange warmth, as if something were drawing her to the woman. Then Clarice spoke, slowly, with palpable emotion. "Emma, my child, you don't know it, but I am your grandmother. I have been looking for you all these years." Emma felt the world around her reel. Her grandmother, missing since childhood, stood before her, alive, and even more incredible, rich beyond anything she had ever imagined. Tears welled up, a mixture of joy, shock, and confusion. After so many years of loneliness and unanswered questions, fate had just granted her the most precious of miracles, reuniting with her lost family through a simple act of bravery. Emma stood frozen in the large living room, unable to tear her eyes away from the woman sitting across from her. Clarice Montgomery, her long-lost grandmother, seemed real, yet unreal to her. Every detail, the elegant wrinkles on her face, her subtle perfume, the warmth of her gaze, awakened buried memories, fragments of a childhood Emma thought lost forever. "I know you have a lot of questions," Clarice began in a soft, almost fragile voice. "And I'm going to explain everything to you, but first, I want you to know that I've always loved you." Emma felt her tears well up. She'd spent her whole life wondering what had happened to her family, and now, suddenly, all her answers were there. Yet, a part of her still refused to believe it was real. Clarice then told her story. After the death of her parents, complex circumstances had forced her to disappear. She had been forced to protect her family from powerful enemies who coveted her fortune. Emma listened, captivated and overwhelmed, each word rekindling a mixture of pain and comfort. Then Clarice placed a hand on Emma's. "And now, you must know that your life is going to change. I want you to come live here, with me. I want to protect you, and above all, make up for all this lost time." Emma felt her heart race. The luxury of the house, the promises of safety and support, it all seemed unreal. But more than anything, it was the idea of reconnecting with her family, of finding the grandmother she had sought so long, that gave her the strength to believe in this miracle. For the first time in years, Emma smiled fully, leaving behind the noisy streets and her past worries. A new chapter in her life had just begun, filled with mysteries, discoveries, and secrets she never imagined. The next morning, Emma woke up in a sumptuous bedroom, with velvet drapes and walls adorned with antique paintings. The reality of her new life still seemed unreal. She dressed slowly, every movement reminding her that her grandmother wasn't just alive, she was immensely wealthy. In the dining room, Clarice was waiting for him with a sumptuous breakfast. "Emma, I know this is a lot to take in," she said softly, "but there are things you need to know about our family, and the future we can build together." Emma sat attentively. Clarice explained that the Montgomery family was one of the most influential in the worlds of business and philanthropy. However, many secrets surrounded this fortune: crooked partners, enemies lurking at every weakness, and mysteries left by her late son, Emma's father, that could threaten their safety. "And you, my dear Emma," Clarice continued, looking her straight in the eyes, "you have inherited not only a fortune, but also a responsibility. Your life will never be the same again. Emma felt a mixture of excitement and fear. The idea of having access to this luxurious world was fascinating, but the shadow of dangers and possible enemies made her anxious. Yet she knew that her encounter with her grandmother was no accident. Her courage and kindness had brought her here, and now she had to learn to navigate a universe she knew only from stories. After breakfast, Clarice guided Emma through the house and showed her documents, photos, and letters from the past. Each object told a piece of their shared history, and each revelation brought Emma closer to the truth about her origins and the complex world of the Montgomery family. As Emma stared out the window at the twinkling city lights late that day, she realized her life had changed dramatically. She was no longer just an ordinary young woman, she was now the heir to a vast fortune and deeply buried secrets, and she would have to decide how to use them, while protecting her newfound family. In the days that followed, Emma immersed herself in her new life. She followed Clarice everywhere, learning about family business, discovering philanthropic foundations, and familiarizing herself with the Montgomery family's luxurious estates. But behind this glittering facade, a dull tension hung. One evening, as Emma and Clarice were finishing a quiet dinner, the old woman's phone rang. The secretary announced an urgent meeting with an influential associate, but the voice on the other end wasn't the one they were expecting. Menacing words were uttered, barely veiled. Someone was monitoring the Montgomery family and questioning Clarice's financial decisions. Emma felt a cold chill run down her spine. Who could want to harm us?" she asked, her voice trembling. Clarice sighed, her eyes heavy with gravity. "Ever since we lost your father, several people have coveted our fortune. I thought you would be safe, but your appearance," she hesitated for a moment, "has attracted attention." In the following days, Emma began to notice worrying signs: anonymous letters, persistent stares from strangers on the street, and strange calls at all hours. She quickly realized that her ordinary life was now over. To protect her granddaughter, Clarice decided to take measures: increased security, monitored communications, and preparedness for any scenario. Emma, though nervous, felt closer than ever to her grandmother. Each shared danger brought them closer and revealed the strength of the family bond they had thought lost. One night, as Emma sat alone in her room, thinking, a thought struck her. It wasn't just her wealth that put them in danger, there was a mystery surrounding her grandmother's disappearance and family secrets that some people would do anything to uncover. What if these enemies knew something Emma didn't yet know? The young woman felt her heart race. Her life had just taken an unexpected turn. She was no longer just a heroine of a courageous act, she was now an heiress in a dangerous world, where every smile could hide a threat. Emma was beginning to adjust to her new life, but she knew the threat still loomed. Clarice, attentive and cautious, had reinforced the house's security and hired trusted agents. Yet Emma felt she had to learn to defend herself differently, by understanding the complex world of her family's business and secrets. One afternoon, Clarice introduced Emma to a young lawyer and trusted advisor, Marcus Bennett. Tall, elegant, and remarkably intelligent, Marcus had worked for the Montgomery family for years. He knew every detail of the cases and seemed to be the only one who could navigate the murky waters of Clarice's enemies. "Emma, I know this is all overwhelming," Marcus said with a reassuring smile, "but I'm going to help you understand what's going on. You're not alone." As the days passed, Emma discovered some unexpected allies. Clarice's former secretary, a quiet but shrewd woman named Lydia, revealed crucial information about external threats, financial partners ready to betray, jealous rivals, and even distant family members with ambitions of their own. Together, Emma, Marcus, and Lydia began analyzing every document, every piece of correspondence, every clue that might reveal the enemy's intentions. Emma realized she was no longer just a passive heiress, she had to learn to think strategically, to protect herself, and to understand the complex game unfolding around her. One evening, as Emma was leaving the library, she spotted a mysterious man observing the property from the street. Before she could react, he disappeared into the shadows. Her heart was pounding. This simple incident confirmed what she had suspected all along: enemies were not far away, and their curiosity about the Montgomery family was more intense than ever. For the first time, Emma understood that this life of luxury came at a price. Every smile could hide danger, every trust could be betrayed. But she also felt a new determination, to protect her grandmother, to defend her newfound family, and to face secrets and threats with courage. A few weeks had passed since Emma's life had been turned upside down. She had begun to understand the inner workings of her grandmother's world, but she would soon discover that the threats weren't just distant or anonymous, they were close and well organized. One morning, while Emma was walking in the gardens of the estate, Lydia arrived in a hurry. "Emma, come quickly," she said, her face pale. From Clarice's office, important documents had disappeared, confidential contracts, letters from financial partners, and even information on the Montgomery family properties. Clarice, usually so calm, showed genuine concern. "This is more than just an intrusion, someone wants to weaken us," she murmured. "And I fear it's someone close to us." Emma felt her heart sink. The enemies weren't just strangers observing the house from outside, they might be among those they trusted. Marcus quickly analyzed the situation. The stolen documents concern the most sensitive partnerships. If this information falls into the wrong hands, it could ruin the family. Over the next few days, Emma actively participated in the investigation. She discovered subtle clues, a forced lock, traces on the floor, and even a suspicious look during a meeting with one of Clarice's associates. Little by little, a pattern emerged, the conspiracy came from within. Tensions rose when an anonymous note was found on Emma's desk: "You know nothing. Soon, everything you love will be gone." The threat was clear, personal, and disturbing. Emma realized that her naivete as a young woman reunited with her family was no longer enough. She had to be smart, careful, and brave. For the first time, Emma felt the weight of her responsibility. Her grandmother was counting on her, the family fortune was at stake, and enemies were closing in. But instead of backing down, Emma felt a newfound strength. She was ready to confront the plots, protect those she loved, and show that her bravery was not just a single act, but the beginning of an unwavering determination. The days following the theft of the documents were tense. Emma, Marcus, and Lydia worked tirelessly to cross-reference the evidence, identify suspects, and secure the house. Every move was calculated, every smile watched with suspicion. One evening, while Emma was reviewing the surveillance camera footage, she noticed something strange. One of the house employees, a seemingly devoted man named Paul, often lingered in the restricted areas, as if searching for something. His behavior was not that of a simple, loyal servant. Emma showed the footage to Marcus and Clarice. "Look at his movements, he knows exactly where to look," she said, her voice firm. Marcus nodded. "That's him. Paul is our traitor." The confrontation was inevitable. Emma, accompanied by Clarice and Marcus, confronted Paul in the main hall. The man, surprised but trying to keep his composure, tried to deny it. But the evidence was overwhelming: the videos, the documents found hidden in his belongings, and compromising messages. "Why, Paul?" Clarice asked, her voice trembling but authoritative. "After everything we've done for you." Paul looked down, unable to hold his gaze. "You don't understand. I just wanted to earn my share. I thought you didn't really love me." He stammered, revealing his greed and jealousy. Emma felt a burning anger rise within her, but she also understood the importance of remaining strategic. "Your betrayal could have destroyed this family," she said calmly. "But now you will answer for your actions." Thanks to Marcus's intervention, Paul was immediately neutralized and placed under strict surveillance, while Clarice resecured all sensitive documents. Emma felt a mixture of relief and bitterness. The first internal threat had been eliminated, but she knew this was only the beginning. Yet the ordeal had strengthened Emma. She felt more confident, more determined, and above all, closer to her grandmother. She understood that protecting the Montgomery family was not just a matter of fortune, but of courage, vigilance, and unity. As night fell over the lavish mansion, Emma stood by the window, gazing out at the lit-up city below. She knew now that her life had changed forever, and that each challenge brought her closer to the woman she was destined to become: strong, resilient, and ready to face whatever storms came her way. Emma had survived her first real shock, the internal betrayal. But she knew the dangers came from much deeper. The clue suggested the plot wasn't limited to a single jealous employee. Powerful, unseen, and influential forces were targeting the Montgomery family. One morning, Marcus ushered Emma and Clarice into his private office. His computer screen displayed disturbing information, suspicious financial transfers, anonymous calls from unknown companies, and links to influential figures in business and politics. "What we're facing," Marcus explained, "isn't just a thief. They're very powerful enemies, capable of manipulating the justice system, public opinion, and even some banks. If we don't act carefully, they could take control of everything we've built." Emma felt a knot of anxiety form in her stomach, but she refused to give in to fear. "We have to act," she said firmly. "I refuse to let this family be destroyed." Clarice, impressed by her granddaughter's determination, placed a hand on her shoulder. "Emma, you've already shown incredible courage. But this time, we'll have to be strategic. Every step must be calculated." In the following days, Emma actively participated in surveillance and planning. She learned to decode coded messages, identify potential allies, and unmask hidden threats. She understood that her grandmother's wealth attracted not only envy, but also highly organized malicious intent. One night, while rereading documents in the library, Emma found a letter hidden in an old book, signed by a name she had never heard before. The message was clear: someone was watching her every move and knew of her closeness to Clarice. Emma realized then that the threat was more personal than she had imagined. It wasn't just her grandmother's fortune that was at stake, but also their immediate safety. She felt both frightened and determined, protecting her family, confronting these enemies, and uncovering the truth about those who were watching them now became her mission. As the moon lit up the city, Emma knew she could never return to the life she had known. She had to become stronger, more cunning, and more vigilant, to survive in a world where danger could arise from anywhere. After discovering the magnitude of the external threat, Emma knew she could no longer remain passive. Together with Marcus and Clarice, she began to develop a plan to protect the Montgomery family and thwart the plots of powerful enemies. Marcus proposed strengthening strategic alliances with trusted partners and monitoring suspicious financial movements. But there was one person no one had considered as an ally: Olivia Sanders, a former investigative journalist renowned for uncovering major financial scandals. She possessed contacts and information that even Marcus couldn't obtain. Clarice contacted Olivia, and after a discreet meeting, they agreed to collaborate. Olivia impressed Emma with her intelligence and determination. "If you want to survive in this world," she said, "you have to think like them and anticipate every move." Over the course of several days, Emma learned to analyze situations like a strategist. She studied files, spotted inconsistencies in transactions, and began to identify her enemies' weak points. For the first time, she felt truly useful, not only as a courageous granddaughter, but also as an active partner in protecting the family. One evening, as they were finalizing a plan to secure financial assets and expose rivals, Emma received an anonymous call. "We know you're planning something." The voice was icy, but this time, Emma didn't back down. She replied calmly, "If you think you can intimidate us, you're mistaken. You don't know Emma Montgomery." It was a turning point. Emma realized that fear could no longer guide her actions. With Marcus, Clarice, and Olivia at her side, she was ready to face enemies, protect her family, and fight back intelligently. Unexpected alliances and thoughtful strategy became her new weapons. As she watched the glittering city from her grandmother's study, Emma felt a new strength fill her. The danger was real, but she was no longer alone. And for the first time, she felt ready to fight not only for her survival, but for that of her newfound family. The weeks of preparation were finally reaching their peak. Emma, Marcus, Clarice, and Olivia had put together a meticulous plan to counter powerful enemies and protect the Montgomery family fortune. Every detail had been checked, every move anticipated. Yet, adrenaline pumped as the decisive moment approached. It all began with a seemingly innocent meeting with an influential business partner. The enemies thought they could manipulate Clarice, but they were unaware that Emma and her team had anticipated every ploy. During the meeting, Emma carefully observed the participants' gestures and words. Every fake smile, every hesitation, every suspicious movement confirmed her suspicions. The traitors were present and ready to act. With a discreet signal, Olivia activated a real-time monitoring system, recording every interaction and every attempt at manipulation. Marcus, for his part, was ready to neutralize any questionable financial maneuvers. Emma felt her heart pound, but she remained focused. She had learned not to let fear overwhelm her. When enemies attempted to take control of a major transaction, Emma intervened. With calm and precision, she revealed the evidence gathered: forged documents, coded messages, and suspicious transfers. The traitors, caught off guard, could only watch as their plan failed. Emma's audacity and intelligence had neutralized their attack. Clarice, moved and proud, placed a hand on Emma's shoulder. "You have shown incredible courage and lucidity. You are no longer just my granddaughter, you are my partner in this battle." With the enemies neutralized, Emma realized that this victory was only the beginning. Other dangers might arise, but she had now acquired an unshakable confidence in herself and in her ability to protect her family. The confrontation had revealed her inner strength, her determination, and her ability to face challenges with intelligence and courage. As night fell over the city, Emma gazed at the illuminated skyline, aware that her life had changed forever. She was no longer the vulnerable young woman she once was. She was an heiress, a strategist, and a protector of her family, ready to weather whatever storms came her way. The following weeks were a period of consolidation and reflection. After thwarting internal and external plots, Emma and her grandmother Clarice were finally able to breathe. The house, once a scene of tension and threats, gradually regained an atmosphere of serenity and security. Emma, now fully integrated into the Montgomery family's life, was gaining confidence in her decisions and in her role as protector. She followed Marcus's advice, but also dared to impose her own ideas. Her ability to analyze situations, anticipate dangers, and act with determination had transformed her personality. She was no longer just a courageous young woman, she had become a solid pillar of the family. One day, while exploring Clarice's private library, Emma discovered an ancient letter, carefully hidden between two books. The letter, written by Emma's father before his death, revealed a final secret. He had planned to give Emma an active role in the family's business and philanthropy, believing she would protect the legacy with integrity and courage. Emma felt a surge of emotion wash over her. All the trials she'd been through, the loss of her parents, the loneliness, the danger, had prepared the ground for this moment. She understood that each difficulty had forged her strength and intelligence. With her family back, her grandmother by her side, and her loyal allies, she was finally ready to take the reins of her destiny. Clarice, seeing her granddaughter's determination and maturity, hugged her. "I'm so proud of you, Emma. You've turned adversity into strength and fear into courage." Emma smiled, her eyes shining with tears. "Thank you, Grandma. Thanks to you, I found my family again, and myself." The house filled with a newfound peace. Enemies had been neutralized, the fortune was protected, and the bond between Emma and Clarice was forever strengthened. For the first time in a long time, Emma felt her life had found balance. As she gazed out the window at the illuminated city, she knew the future was hers, rich with love, family, and challenges she was ready to take on. The young woman who had bravely saved a grandmother had become a strong, intelligent heiress ready to write her own legend. And in that moment of serenity, Emma finally understood, some miracles really do happen, when courage and destiny meet.